Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Magic of the Midwest podcast. I am J.B. Michaels, USA Today best-selling author of many books, one of which is coming out July 24th, and I'm so excited.
Can you breathe?
Yes, I just did that all in one breath, the song and that intro. This is the Magic of the Midwest podcast. I am J.B. Michaels, USA Today best-selling author of many books, we use the books as a form of sponsorship.
We do.
So please, ladies and gentlemen, check out MrMichaels.com for a free book, MISTER, Michaels.com for a free book so you can see what JB's books are all about. And there is something for everyone, for the kids, for you, for your teens, for your moms, your dads, your grandparents. My books have a range. I'm just going to say it. They have a range.
Okay.
All right. Also, I forgot, but she's not that important. The creator of the podcast.
Oh, yeah, just the creator.
Is
Ashley Michaels.
Yes. Hello, Ashley Michaels.
Hello.
Yes. So, and we also, this podcast would definitely not be possible without our Bandcamp subscribers. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much to those who subscribe on Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com, where you can literally get double the content.
Yeah.
Yes, double.
Who wouldn't want that?
If you like what you're hearing, you could hear literally double more.
Yeah.
Does
well,
that make sense?
The Bandcamp exclusives aren't as long.
They're not as long. That's true.
They pack more humor.
They're probably
charm.
They're probably like a little more outtake-ish, rather than the mainstream podcast. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. We do the main format is we do Smackdowns. Yeah. So we try to had kind of like a pardon the interruption type of thing where we kind of just put topics up and then me and Ash weigh in on them. Like, for example, the latest one was Restaurant Smackdown, actually, between the restaurant inside the Mexico Pavilion and the restaurant inside the Germany Pavilion.
Yep.
And we had lots to say. It was a rich discussion, and it was a lot of fun. It was actually more longer than I thought it would be because we really got in depth. All right, so today we actually are going to take a slight break from the usual format of going through the parks and going through each section of the parks, because we have had people email us, text us, Gmail us, message us on social media.
Than Gmail?
Yes. And asking us to do more episodes on how we actually plan our Disney vacations and how we do them. Mm-hmm. So we thought, we were gonna do a special series of that, which I think we'll still do more in depth. But we are going to go over today what our process is for going to Walt Disney World and how we plan for it. Because one thing that I do know is that people who go there, for their one-time trip, they're usually probably most likely not prepared.
Especially now.
Now it's completely different.
But I don't mean because of what's going on now with the pandemic.
Right.
I mean with the
just
way
in general.
fast passes have evolved and all of that. I think is much different than if you had gone 20 years ago.
Right. So, this trip is not I'm going to go get a hotel room on the beach in Fort Lauderdale and just
Wing
do
it.
nothing. and like just kind of do whatever, or Clearwater or wherever, or Big Sur, go out to California. It's a totally different. It's a different animal. It's a different beast. There's a reason why there are so many theme park travel websites, theme park blogs, theme park vlogs, theme park YouTube channels,
theme park podcasts,
because there is so much that you do need to learn about going to Disney. I mean, it was not always that way.
Yeah.
When I went as a child, and when you went as a kid, there were only 3 parks open. When I went as a child, there's only 2 parks open.
Because that was way before I went.
Right. Yes, because I am more seasoned and, just smarter, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So it was a lot simpler of a situation, right? You still had a lot to... There was still a lot to take in when, Magic Kingdom and Epcot were the only 2 parks. But it was you didn't have to plan as much in advance. So, so it's an interesting thing. And then, the parks kept getting so much more popular. Then one of the Imagineers was like, operations guys at Disney was like, why don't we do this Fast Pass thing where people could just reserve, that was a Disney original. It was not, they were the original people that come up with Fast Pass. Come back at a specific time and ride the ride. It kind of split the lines up to, make things go quicker, which I think was brilliant. But even now, the Fast Pass has evolved to the point where it used to be, like you said last time, that you missed the Fast Pass kiosks.
Yeah.
At Disney World, there's still some kiosks, but it used to be a kiosk at every major Fast Pass attraction that you had to put your physical ticket into, and it would spit back out those little sheets.
I totally understand how, obviously the major drawback of the kiosk was that you had to be in that park,
right? Yes.
To go get the Fast Pass. So, even if Tower of Terror wasn't going to be available till 5 o'clock, you might have to get a Fast Pass by 10.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
You had to go run. Like, what we would do, we would like go run, grab a Fast Pass for Rockin' and for whatever else, because the Rockin' Fast Passes would always run out by like 11 o'clock. There was no more Fast Passes, for the day. So, things evolve and change almost all the time with Disney. Things get, in some ways less complicated and in some ways more complicated. It depends on how you look at it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are pros and cons to both, right? You think about how, okay, now we don't have to run over there and do it. We can do it 60 days in advance or whatever it is, depending on your situation.
Right.
But you also need to know 60 days in advance what park you're going to be in.
Yeah.
And, there's a little bit of freedom when you're like, okay, we're going to go here today, or you think about it the night before. Tomorrow we're going to go to Hollywood Studios. And then you can kind of run over there and get your Fast Passes.
This is a good segue. It's a good segue. Okay. We could start talking about you said Fast Passes 60 days in advance.
Fast Pass Plus, yes. Okay.
Well, we could, before we go into that, it is interesting because you have another theme park company, Universal Studios, which will become more complicated soon because they're, in a few years, they're going to open up Fantastic Worlds.
Yeah.
So that'll be a 3rd theme park, but that theme park won't really be close to the other 2 theme parks.
Yeah.
It'll be, you'll have to get on transportation to get over to that new park. Whereas right now, Universal is a pretty, okay, so here's an interesting thing that we've observed. Ashley and I have observed over the years of being theme park enthusiasts, but also, people come to us. People have come to us for years about, well, how do you guys do Disney? What do you guys do? What are the tips? What are the things that you should do? And I've noticed that there are people, and it's usually older adults, not elderly adults, but older adults, who, if they haven't done Disney, when they were younger tend to definitely gravitate towards Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Because Universal Studios is a lot. You can knock out both of those parks in one day.
Yeah.
Like
without much planning.
Without much planning. You don't have to get
which is awesome.
Yes.
I mean, it's really freeing and nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, in one way, that is an advantage, so to speak, that Universal does have. And, some people value less planning in their vacation.
Totally.
And just want to go and wing it. Well, you can do that at Universal. Everything is pretty much self-contained.
I feel like if you do it at Universal, that doesn't mean you're not going to go in without a game plan. You might be like, oh, we're going to do this and this and this. But you're not trying to figure it out days in advance and, booking fast passes and all that.
No.
And if you didn't really plan, I don't feel like the value of your visit changes. If you don't plan for Disney, the value of your visit drops significantly, I think.
Yes, yeah. Because Disney is so much more popular.
It's a beast.
And it's so much more popular, and it's so much more crowded. And it's just vast. It's vast. But, Universal wants to be Disney. I mean, they definitely do in many ways. When you open up a water park and you say that it's a third park.
False.
That is, I'm sorry, but that is marketing. Do not for a second think that Volcano Bay, you guys, is a third theme park. It's not.
And it's even our friends that really love Universal, maybe more than Disney, laugh about.
Yeah, it's a water park. Yeah. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Just have it be a water park.
Just say it's a water park.
It's not a theme park.
The third theme park is going to open up in 2025.
Yeah.
But there is an allure to it, to Universal and just going to, you walk. I mean, Universal in a way. Unless you stay on property, which you can, which I would definitely stay on property. If you can at Universal Studios, I know it's not a Universal podcast, but if you stay at Universal,
it's magic in the Midwest.
True. It's not really just Disney.
No, there are definitely we want to do episodes later.
Oh yeah, we'll be doing definitely in depth in Universal for sure. But you stay at Royal Pack, you stay somewhere where the best thing to do at Universal is to stay on a resort that you can have boat access to. Because that cuts out a lot of walking.
Or even walk.
Or just walk back to the resort. Because that is a charm that Universal has. It's pretty much self-contained, like I said before. Everything's pretty close.
Which is really nice.
Which is nice. So there is an allure of Universal because it's like, oh, well, we don't have to worry. Islands is right next door. And now, with the Harry Potter, with a park hopper, a 2-park pass, you can get on go to King's Cross Station and take the train and go between parks, which is very unique and cool.
It is very cool.
That was well done, right? So you have a lot of people that check out of a podcast like this because they don't even want to. They're like, I don't want to have to plan my vacation. I'll just go to Universal and just wing it. And you know what? That's fine. And you could go to Disney and wing it, but I'm telling you right now,
value drops.
The value of your dollar, the value of your time. Ashley made a great point the other day. She's like, time is the most important thing at Disney. And the quality of that time. Mm-hmm. And that does not mean for us, now it might be for other people, but that does not mean I'm marathoning the parks every day.
Yeah. We'll kind of get into that, and of course we know people that do it different than us. And this is just how we do it. Mm-hmm. That's we're not saying it's the best way or the only way. It's how we always do the parks and how we always plan. And I think everyone that we've been with, obviously your parents did that before we did.
Right.
But when we've taken other people, they've always really appreciated the way that we do it.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
I don't know how you want to segue into whatever.
Right. Well, okay. So now this is sort of, it's an interesting thing because I almost was questioning our ways last time. Because 2 of the mornings we had last time.
Well, that wasn't, I don't think it's a question of
I think that was probably an anomaly. But, okay, so...
It was extra magic hour.
It was, and extra merch events that just destroyed our experience.
I don't think it has anything to do with how we do it.
So here's how we do it. We're DVC members. So for us, about 11 months in advance, which actually we really should do.
Actually, we usually start talking about when our next trip will be when we're on the Magical Express going back to the airport.
Yes, yeah. Or even before that.
Because we're already depressed.
Right. Yes. So we have our DVC points. So we actually have to look on the DVC member website. And, we are Grand Floridian people, so we have actually an advantage 11 months out.
We're Grand Floridian people. We own there.
Right.
Not Grand
we own Grand, yes. But that's okay if you are.
It is.
So we basically can book 11 months in advance at Grand Floridian, and then we'd have to wait 7 months in advance to book anywhere else, any other DVC property at Disney. So we, usually, actually, we mix it up.
A lot. We usually book the Grand Floridian 11 months out sort of as like a safety.
Right.
So we can get the week or whatever it is that we want.
Yeah.
And then, 4 months later, we're looking at, okay, we really wanted to stay at Copper Creek. Let's see if it's available. If not, we might have a few other things. Usually we can get our usually our second choice.
Usually we do. Yeah.
So we'll have, beach club, whatever it is, boardwalk. And we'll, cancel our Grand Floridian reservation and then book the other one.
Right.
So we're sort of, safe either way.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. There's someone mowing.
There's a big mower.
And it probably won't be that loud.
Right.
But anyways, that's what we do.
So that's our booking of using our points. Now the great thing about this, and this is not a commercial or an infomercial.
We don't sell
But ladies and gentlemen, we literally, we stay at places at Disney, and we stay in $750 accommodations a night. Like,
we've had trips like in 2-bedroom villas that would have been upwards of
10
grand that we never would have been able to do.
Right.
Because of the DVC.
Never be able to do. So, not never, but I mean,
soon.
Definitely not. Right. So we stay in really wonderful accommodations where the resort itself, and you really can't go wrong with any resort on property, to be honest. Like they're all really great. There's always some great features and pools and things in almost every resort at Disney. So we stay in these really nice places with great transportation and great just great accommodations, really great themes. The last trip we took, we stayed for 8 nights. Was it 8 nights?
Yeah, in a 1-bedroom at the boardwalk.
In a 1-bedroom at the boardwalk. If you don't know what the boardwalk is, it is a DVC original resort, one of the original DVCs, not the original, but one of them. So it was built with DVC in mind. And basically what we did was that has access. You could walk to studios, you could walk to Epcot.
I love that.
Right. You've got water, you've got the boardwalk, you got the boardwalk itself. You got the boardwalk itself. You have these, it's the boardwalk in and of itself is a destination.
Oh yeah.
Like it is. It has multiple awesome restaurants. It's got boardwalk games, and it's got a dance hall, it's got a piano bar. It's in and of itself a destination. So
when you're I love the boardwalk because when you walk out of your room, out of the hotel, and you're on the boardwalk, it's just living.
Yeah.
There's just people everywhere, and it reminds you of it's like summer time, and there's lots of activities going on. Not every resort feels like that.
Right.
There's the pool, and then, somewhere to eat. But the boardwalk is just, it's cool.
Yeah, it is. So that's just one example of a resort, that the type of accommodations we stay at with DVC, which is amazing.
I don't think we should go on this too long.
All right, so no, we're not. We're not. So then what we do is we wait, and then we just like watch Disney videos for like months, and just
especially in January and February.
Right. We need it in the winter because winter's in the Midwest. We've talked about them in the past.
Yeah, once you get past New Year's, it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? We're just slogging through. Thank God for playoff football. That's what gets me through.
Yeah, thank goodness for that.
Da Bears. Hopefully they'll be in the playoffs this year. So if there's a season. But anyway, so then we about, gets closer to our trip. So probably like around June, especially if we're going in August, we get on Disney's website, Walt Disney World's website.
We should do dining reservations for that.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Come on.
About 6 months in advance, I get the bug.
Get your
and Ash is always like, Jim, don't make reservations. We don't need to go to fancy dinner reservations. Blah,
well,
blah.
we usually do one reservation for a trip. That's usually our plan.
Yeah.
Do like one nicer reservation. And we usually plan that together.
Mm-hmm.
And then we usually sit down literally 6 months.
Yeah.
So the day.
Yeah.
In the morning, and try and book, whatever.
Where do we want to eat? And the restaurants that are hardest to get are Be Our Guest. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's California Grill's another hard one to get. The Floridian restaurants are tough to get. Some Epcot restaurants are tough to get. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to eat at a specific place 6 months in advance.
I want to throw in a recommendation for the Hoop-Dee-Doo review.
Yes!
So good.
Yes.
So
Hoop-Dee-Doo or the Luau. Either
Luau's
one.
Good too.
So the Luau over at Poly or the Hoop-Dee-Doo review over at the Fort Wilderness Campground. At Pioneer Hall.
I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. I would say I would pick it over the Luau.
Yes, if you had a choice, go for Hoop-Dee-Doo first.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's super fun. Great food. Like, almost anyone would like it. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, corn. But, I mean, it's really good.
It's actually really good quality.
And the entertainment, you can't beat it. It's amazing.
Yes, the entertainment is fantastic. It's a show that they've literally been doing since, like, 1974 or something. It's the longest running musical dinner show or something.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is so fun. It's very, very fun. And for the adults, they just keep bringing you wine and beer. Like, it's included.
I think I had 3 mason jars.
You just get refills of beer and wine and as much as you want. And food. They just keep bringing buckets of fried chicken out.
I don't remember what the price is, but it's worth it.
It's really worth it. Definitely worth it. If you want a quality dinner, okay, something that you have researched and planned and you said, this is what I want to do. You have to definitely try and get it done 6 months in advance.
Like when they open. So,
yeah. Call in the morning.
Call in the morning and book it.
Yes.
And have a backup. If you can't get in to Be Our Guest, have something else you want to do.
Yes. And you know what? They'll and the people on the phone, the dining cast members will help you. They'll be like, well, let's take a look at some other stuff, and what about this? What about that? And they're amazing. I mean, they're really amazing.
I definitely think that there's no restaurant that if you can't get in, it's gonna ruin your trip.
No,
there's so many great dining options, and I know, like JB was saying, that everyone wants to Be Our Guest right now, but as much as it's super cool, you could go in there for lunch instead and book something else. Nothing's
no.
A must do.
Right. Must do Disney. I love the must do's. Okay. So
I don't know if we're really doing a super focused, are we? It's fine.
We're gonna get hyper focused in another run of podcasts. But this is just an overview of how we do
so that's
things.
6 months out.
Right. And then after 6 months out, the next big date or time period that you need to worry about is 60 days in advance. Okay.
And this is if you're staying on property.
This is only if you're staying on property. And here's what you need to do, though. You've got to pay for those tickets ahead of time. So you've got to get your tickets and link the tickets to your reservation. So
this is why people hire agents.
Right. So
They do.
So your ticket is now linked to your hotel reservation, so you can book FastPass Plus.
Isn't there even another step if you're a DVC? We have to link it. Remember one time we were linking it and it wouldn't link over here.
Oh yeah, sometimes it does. Sometimes it's goofy like that. It really is. So we sometimes.
So once you have your tickets purchased and then you link your reservation and your tickets together, then you can book fast passes.
Yeah.
And usually what we do is 2 months or 60 days in advance is when you can book them. We plan out the night before or a few days before. I always do this. I have a piece of paper in front of me and I write down, okay,
priorities.
We think about which day we're going to be in which park, kind of. We try and kind of map it out, like Magic Kingdom here, Epcot here, in the evening, this, that.
Right.
And there's room for flexibility if a fast pass we want, isn't available. So then, and JB normally does the next part. We wake up at 5.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, 5:30 or 6.
You might think we're nuts, but we get up early
and book all the fast passes.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to
do.
I'm
not kidding you guys. I woke up that early, 60 days in advance for our August trip, and I could not get Slinky Dog Dash Fast Pass Pluses.
Well, I think I know why.
And that was because of an event. I
think
more
they
than
book
anything.
a lot of events, and when they used to do it for Seven Doors Mine Train a lot. Maybe they still do. I don't know.
They do a breakfast.
And then I think there's less fast passes available for people that aren't doing that breakfast. So it kind of goes quick.
Yeah. Okay. So.
But if you don't do it that day in the morning, the big ones that everyone tries to get will probably not be available in advance.
Yes.
At least.
All right. So here's the deal. Fast Pass Plus. You're only allowed to have 3
a day. In one park.
In advance.
Yes.
So when you get there and you go through all your fast passes, you could try and get another fast pass.
You can go on the My Disney Experience.
Yes.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah, the My Disney Experience app. Yeah. Now here's the weird thing about Fast Pass Plus. Fast passes themselves have different tiers. Okay? So I know this is insane. I know, isn't it? This is so detailed.
You can't say you want Seven Doors Mine Train and Space Mountain because they're both probably top tier.
Right.
They limit you to there's 3 tiers, and the first tier, or however they do it, is the rides that are
level one tiers.
Yeah.
Level 1 is basically the most popular attractions. So you cannot do Frozen Ever After, okay, and Ratatouille when it opens up. You won't be able to do that. You will not be able to do it.
You got to
pick one or the other, and then you've got to pick the level 2s and lower. I think it's only level 1 and 2. I mean, there might be a level 3, but those are pretty.
Those
are so basically you can book a Frozen Ever After, and then it's weird because you would think Soarin' and Test Track are level 1s. They're not anymore. I don't think. Test Track might still be a level 1.
One of them is.
Yeah, one of them is still level 1, one of them isn't. But so basically there's tiers of attractions in the Fast Pass system. So, so basically you've got to choose which, you cannot do, Smuggler's Run and then, I don't know, Rise of the Resistance or anything like that. I don't even know if Rise is on Fast Pass
it's probably
Plus
not
yet. I don't think it is yet. But so anyway, that's a really key thing you need to understand. So because you don't want to waste your time. Because here's the problem. If you start doing that and you don't know, you're losing time. So now all the other fast passes you need to get for the other days of your trip are gone.
Yeah, while you're trying. I should have mentioned too. While we make the list of which days we're going to be in which parks, and obviously we're taking into consideration.
And when do you have to do it? You have to do it at the beginning of your trip, the date of the beginning of your trip, or the end of your trip?
No, the beginning.
The beginning of your trip.
Yeah.
So 60 days from the beginning of your trip.
Well, and that's an interesting point. So if your trip is longer than 7 days,
you can't
past that 7th day, I think you have to wait another day to make fast passes for that day.
Yes.
Because if you had a 20-day trip, you would be able to book days that other
Right.
people couldn't yet because
Right.
most people don't stay that long.
Yeah.
So that's another little weird thing too.
Yes. Yeah.
But what was I going to say?
So don't get caught up in like,
oh wait,
why is this not working? It'll tell you like you can't do 2 level ones.
Yeah. So we write down which day we're going to be in which park, and we take into consideration any dining reservations we've made because if you're dining reservations in MK, then you need to plan around that.
Right. Right.
And then we also have a list on the other side of like our fast passes that we really want.
Yes.
And that might mean that if we want Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Space Mountain, if those are both level 1, we need to plan to do those on different days we're going to be in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of moving parts. And a lot of times we get most of what we want. I would say almost everything.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean,
last time we got Flight of Passage. We didn't get Slinky Dog, but we got Flight of Passage, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Oh, yeah.
All of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, it is, you can make it effective. You can make it worth your while. And it is really, honestly, it's awesome advantage.
I just wouldn't sit down at 6 a.m. and not have a plan. Like, at least have some sort of... You got to know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing, yeah. Which days are we going into which park, yes. And here's another pro tip for Fast Pass Pluses. Since you can't park hop with Fast Pass Pluses, you've got to decide, are you, like Ash said, are you going to clump? We usually try and cluster our Fast Passes.
Like either in the morning or in the evening.
Yes, yeah. If you spread them out too much, you're probably going to waste a Fast Pass because you probably won't you won't be there or something else will happen or...
I mean, I guess that depends. Some people spend all day in one park, so they might...
Right.
It might be fine. We don't do that.
We'll get into that later.
But I'm just saying, for the purposes of this...
Don't do it.
I'm going to say it.
Don't do it.
No, listen. That doesn't make any sense unless we give context. Okay. We usually go and we always get park hoppers. And we go into one park into the morning, usually right at rope drop, not extra magic hours. We learned that the hard way. Don't do that. And then we're there for until lunchtime. And then we leave and we usually go back to the hotel and swim and that type of thing. And then we go usually into another park.
Yeah.
But that's why we try to cluster our fast passes. Like, one might be at 9 and then 10:40 and then, 11:55.
Yes.
And then that way we're kind of heading out after that. I don't know why. I mean, that's the whole point of this podcast, saying how we...
I was going to get to that soon.
I don't care.
Right. Okay. So basically, and here's another thing that might confuse people. Forget what you said. We're talking about if you go, like, we take a break and, after our morning, after the morning. So basically, Fast Pass Pluses are, it's good to kind of try and contain them into areas. Also, another pro tip for that is because you can get more Fast Passes once your Fast Pass Pluses are over.
Yep.
So if you try and book them at one part of the day, that's good, right? At least in the first part of the day, the morning. That means you can try and get more Fast Passes the rest of that day.
Yeah, as soon as you use your last Fast Pass, then you can go back on My Disney Experience and look for whatever Fast Passes are available. Right.
You can get more Fast Passes. So, it's really a key component to enjoying Disney because what you don't want to do, okay, is go in there, try, and a key point to this is what I wanted to say that's confusing. None of this, absolutely none of this matters. This entire last 10 minutes of this podcast does not matter unless you're staying on property. If you're not staying on property...
Well, neither is Fast Pass Plus.
That's what I'm saying. You can't do Fast Pass Plus. None of this matters. So if you're not staying on Disney property, throw this out.
Which is fine. We know,
which is totally fine. We know people that don't stay on property all the time. But I'm telling you right now, those people aren't getting on the best rides. They're not. Because
they're waiting.
Or they're waiting, but most of the time they refuse to wait. Because, let's face it, Flight of Passage is probably the best attraction. I haven't been on the other Rise of the Resistance yet. But Flight of Passage is, bar none, probably the most amazing experience you'll have at Disney World. It's incredible. it's 3 hours usually to wait, possibly more, depending on the day. People that don't get the Fast Pass Plus for that don't go on it.
Yeah, well,
they don't wait
guys.
on it.
We know people that get discounts through work to stay at certain hotels and
that's
stuff.
Fine.
And I'm not going to sit here and say, no, you should spend $500, $600 a night at a different hotel. It just is a different experience. When you're off property, it takes longer to get there. You park at the ticket and transportation and ticket center, whatever.
Yeah.
It is a longer process. And my thing, our thing with Disney, and this is just us, is that time is money. I do think that quality time in the park matters the most.
Yeah.
Whether it's condensed or however. But it is a wildly different experience than staying on property. It
is.
Not wildly.
And I'm I'm not saying you can't enjoy the attractions if you're not on property, but if you're not willing to, if you're staying off property and you're not willing to kind of like deal with the fact that if you want to get on the bus ride, you're going to have to wait, 3.5 hours. A tip for that, okay, is if you aren't staying on property but you want to get on Flight of Passage, go into the ride near the end of the park day. Go into line at about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Depending on what time.
Even if it says it's a long wait,
it's probably not.
It's probably not.
So you can kind of skirt that. If you're at Animal Kingdom at night and you want to get on Flight of Passage, wait till closer to the end if you don't have a Fast Pass Plus, because it most likely, like you said,
usually they leave the time on the
to discourage people
from getting in line. So usually they say it's about actually half the time you see it. Now, we can't guarantee that. We've just heard from people and experienced it ourselves a few times that seems to be the case. If it says 90 minutes, it might be 45.
Right. So it is one of those trade-offs that you get when, I get it. I understand you guys. You're paid a lot of money to go on your trip. And if you could save money and stay somewhere else and have a bigger, nicer accommodation for the same amount of money that you would staying at maybe a moderate or even a deluxe resort on Disney property, I understand that completely. Just know that there are trade-offs. Disney does, kind of have an incredibly sound business model that, if you play their game, you're going to get advantages. You really do. If you play their game. So basically, here's another tip. When you're done getting your Fast Pass Pluses, when you're done with everything, and then, you got your, if you're flying, you got to get registered for the Magical Express. Okay, if you don't get registered for the Magical Express, it ain't going to happen. So you need to have your flights already booked. You need to give that flight information to Disney. Now, you can do this online, but the form is super big.
We always call.
Honestly, here's a tip. Just call them, and the cast members will do it for you. Just be like, hey, can you please help me with the Magical Express? Some people who don't know what that is. The Magical Express is a bus service from Orlando International.
And it's free.
It's a free service that you can get a ride from the airport to the resort and then back as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, yet another perk for staying completely on Disney property the entire time of your trip.
Yeah, and if you have checked bags, you don't have to. Right. You don't have to wait for them. The Magical Express, they will get it for you.
Yeah, they get it at the baggage claim. They put it in your room a couple hours later. For the most part, we've never had a problem. We did have an issue last time.
It took a long time.
And we had some issues. We had some issues at the beginning of our trip last time, but we'll go into that another time.
It's bound to happen sometimes. It's usually smooth sailing, but we did have it.
Yeah, law of averages. You're always gonna hit some anomalies at certain points. Okay, so now, like Ash said, then we get to Disney. We're all excited. We're super pumped. We watched those videos on the Magical Express.
We're finally here.
Yes, we're here.
It's humid. My hair is frizzing and getting bigger by the second.
Right.
Everything's good.
Everything's good. We're happy. We're excited. Everybody's got smiles on their faces. We get on the bus.
We've been up since 4 a.m.
We've been up since 4 a.m., but we're still really pumped.
We're upset that McDonald's is no longer in the airport.
Right.
But we've gotten over it.
We take our bags out from underneath the... our carry-on bags out from underneath the Magical Express, and there's breast milk all over them, and we drag breast milk through the lobby.
That actually
And
no, it wasn't my breast milk. It was someone else's.
Oh, gosh!
No, it sounds bad. I mean, I think it sounds bad to make fun of it. Some mom probably worked really hard at pumping all the milk and storing it properly, and then it spilled, and now, looking back, I mean, we did not have Harrison at that point. At all the milk you've possibly wasted would be horrific, but all of JB's clothes had this woman's breast milk on.
It was an interesting situation.
It wasn't her fault.
No, I didn't. I was not mad or
JB
anything.
is rolling his suitcase through the lobby of the boardwalk, and there's little drops coming out of it. Like, his bag was soaked.
And it was dripping with someone's breast milk.
No, she worked hard for that.
So that was
not a win for anyone there. No. And I'm sure she felt bad.
Yes. So that was rough.
Not that it was her fault, and she should feel bad, but it's,
But anyway, we go, we get settled in. Usually our first day of our trip, we don't
go anywhere.
We don't really go anywhere. If we do, if we do go somewhere, it's basically downtown, Disney Springs.
Yeah. Sometimes we go into a park.
Sometimes we go into a park.
Just chill, kind of.
And just kind of take it easy, Yeah.
We're not we don't have a plan to go to this ride and this ride, this ride. We kind of walk in and we kind of take it in.
Yeah. If you have that luxury, right? If you have that luxury of kind of taking it easy the first day, right? Then, if you could kind of bake that into your trip, that's a nice thing to do.
I want to add a note, because some people might be like, why would you walk into a park and spend $110 a person just to walk in and take it easy? I'll tell you why.
Multi-day park passes.
Multi-day park passes. What's interesting about the way that they're scaled is that basically if you're going to go into the park 4 days or 8 days, the price drops so much per day, the amount of days you add, that it actually ends up being almost the same amount. We were doing that. We were trying to price out different options. We did an 8-day trip last time. So I thought, okay, well, we might be able to save some money if we go into the park less days.
Yes.
False, everyone. We literally ran it. It was at the point where it's basically if you went in 3 days versus 7 days, the outcome was the same price.
Yeah.
Because the tickets drop in price for how many days you're going. So to me, I was like, you might as well, if you're going to pay the same amount, you might as well just go in 7 days.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, something to think about.
So, if you want to go in and you want to just go in and just relax, and it's another, here's another thing. Here's another thing about going into a Disney park and just relaxing. That's a great experience in and of itself. You could kind of take in details that you don't really take in and take in details that you would miss because you're running to the next attraction.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I think some people really there's so much to do, and their goal is to do everything. And I'm going to say my personal opinion, whether you're coming for a once-in-a-lifetime trip, I'm going to stand by this, or you're someone that goes all the time, I don't think it is the best value to try and run around and do everything you possibly can and jam it in. Because I think there's a lot of what we call Disney moments where people are,
upset. Kids are crying.
It's
hot.
It's going to happen anyways, but I think that if you plan out your day and have those fast passes and take a break and kind of just relax, allow yourself to relax a little bit on vacation in certain ways, I think you get more out of it.
You do.
If we ever go with someone like you that likes to go, I won't stay with you during the whole...
Oh, jeez.
Well, no, I wouldn't. I don't mean to be mean. I mean, we would still do what we do.
Right.
That's what we've always done.
we technically, like Ash said, we'll do a little recap, and then we'll stop this. We're going to be continuing this conversation in other ways throughout the podcast, the way we do Disney. But like Ash said, we usually come in, we kind of have that relaxing day, and then our next day we probably have our Fast Pass Pluses ready to go for the morning, and we do a morning.
We do get up. We do get up.
Early.
It might be like 6:30 or it might be 7. We get up so we can get on the bus or monorail or boat, whatever it is, by a certain time so we can get to the park relatively close to it opening.
Yes. And then we go in and it's amazing what you can get done early.
One morning in Magic Kingdom, we got on
8 attractions
because we were there at rope drop.
Yeah.
Not extra magic hours in the morning, but rope drop.
Yeah, no, there's a difference. Yeah, rope drop attractions, we did that. And then we...
Just go ahead.
And then our sonny's, how dare he? And then we go take that nice long break in the afternoon. And we go to the pool, or we take a nap, or we do both of those things, and just relax, kind of get yourself in that vacation mode. And then we head back into the parks later in the afternoon. So that's, Ash already kind of went over that, but that's what we suggest for a quality day at Disney World, we think. So... all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this week.
I want to go, like we said, we'll go more into it. Why? Because I know a lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, why do you do that?
Right.
We don't do that. We stay there all day.
Yeah.
And next podcast, I'll tell you why you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No. We know a lot of people that go in all day and stay all day, but we'll explain a little bit more why we like to do it that way.
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Please rate, review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you download the podcast and listen to it. Please subscribe for double the episodes at magicinthemidwestpodcast.bandcamp.com. And go ahead and get that free book from MrMichaels.com, MISTER Michaels.com. And please email us. Let us know what you think or any questions about specifics about this particular podcast. MagicInTheMidwestPodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and again, we don't obviously gain anything if you sign up. Do the DVC or whatever.
Guys,
but if you have questions around it, we would love to talk to you about that or anything else. So email away.
Yes. All right. So from the Midwest, see you later.